Welcome back, everybody. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Fortuna by Kristyn Merbeth. Book 1 in the Nova Vita Protocol. It sounds to me, the Nova Vita Protocol, that sounds like a Robert Ludlum thriller to me. I don't know why, but it just does. So what is the Nova Vita Protocol? I don't know. We find out in the book, though. The cover. We always review the covers first because, you know, I love graphic design and cover illustration. I'll be honest. It was this cover that got me to pick up the book. I loved the colors of it. First, it's got this great purple, pink, eye-popping circle thing going with the shadow of a cool-looking spaceship and somebody outside of it and everything. The font that they used for the Fortuna, yeah, I mean, I think they used Fortuna font. I do. I think that's what they used. I could be wrong. I don't know. But it started to grow on me, and the thing is there's two other books in this trilogy, and they also use the same font. So I forgive them because when you look at them all stacked up in a row on the bookshelf, they do look good. I don't have them here with me to show you that, but they all do match. And like Orbit Books is always known for putting the number of the book, so this is book 1, you know, the next one's going to have a 2, and the next one's going to have a 3. Every publisher needs to do this. They need to do that, just so you know. Great looking book, though. It's a sharp-looking book from the get-go, so we're off to a good start. What is the writing like? I don't know anything about this author. This is, to me, I'd never heard of this author before. Just saw this in the Barnes & Noble, liked the cover, got it, thought I'd give it a try, and boy, was I delighted with the result. This thing is cool. This book is dope. It's all the way, I mean, let me just read the first 2 paragraphs to you. And you can't tell me if this just doesn't set the scene that you want to be in this book right now. I mean, let me read this. And this is for space opera junkies. This is science fiction writing 101. Fortuna is the spaceship that we see on the cover. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Fortuna's cockpit smells like sweat and whiskey, and loose screws rattle around with every thump of music. I'm sprawled in the pilot's chair, legs stretched out and boots resting atop the control panel, forming a half circle around me. A bottle of whiskey dangles from one of my hands. The other taps out the song's beat on the control wheel. Normally, this is my favorite place to be, in my chair, behind the wheel, staring out at open space and its endless possibilities. I am a daughter of the stars, after all. But I've been in the cockpit for nearly 8 hours now, urging this ship as fast as she can go to make sure we unload our cargo on time, and my body is starting to ache from it. Scrappy little Fortuna is my home, the only one I've ever known. But she wasn't built for comfort. She was built to take a beating. Oh, absolutely gorgeous prose, razor sharp, puts you right in the scene. If you all out there for some writing advice, want to know how to start a scene, just study what this writer has done right there. That is the way to get a book to a cracking good start. Because we can picture it. A young space pilot sitting in her cockpit with her whiskey, loving her job, zooming through space on a smuggler ship, on the Millennium Falcon, but it's called Fortuna. We know what's happening right off the get-go. There's no mistaking what's going on right there. Well, Fortuna, the ship, it's a junker smuggling ship. That's what it is. I mean, it's so kind of it's so rattly, and it's like, you know, when Princess Leia came up upon the Millennium Falcon, you came in that punk of junk? Or when Luke is like, what a piece of junk. That's kind of what we get with the Fortuna, is that it's so bad, it's so junky, that even as it lands, you never know if you're going to crash or not. And it shakes so much that everybody inside of it is on the verge of vomiting, and they actually have to wear mouth guards to protect to save their teeth because it's such a piece of crap vehicle that it'll just bust your teeth out upon landing. It's that dangerous of a ship. Not only that, but it's not in this world that Kristyn Merbeth has created. Nobody is allowed to have weaponry on their ships. Like, you know how the Millennium Falcon was just decked out with all sorts of machine guns and stuff, and Han Solo had a blaster to the side. No, that's in this world, that's a no-no. But it's a smuggling ship, so they're still breaking the law, right? Now, the girl that we meet in that first, she's the narrator of half of this book. Her name is Scorpia Kaiser. And the other half of the book is narrated by her brother, Corvus. And I do believe that Scorpia's story is the more interesting of the two. Scorpia is the smuggler, Corvus is her brother, and he's in the army. And so we see a lot of his viewpoint is told from the perspective of an army soldier in a platoon of army people fighting on a planet. Scorpia's perspective is told from the smuggling ship. And that's sort of the storyline I was drawn to most. And I think that's where most of the fun happens. Because Scorpia's family is on the smuggling ship with her. It's a family-run business, run by her mother. And her mother apparently has lots of baby daddies. Because each one of Scorpia's siblings has a different baby daddy. And, who are these baby daddies? Well, Mom is a little sketchy on that. Not only that, but most of the family has been born on a planet. So they're planet-born, which gives you a certain amount of status in this world. If you're spacer-born, if you're born on a spaceship, like Scorpia was, you're called a spacer, I believe. I can't remember what it's called. But you're just sort of a lower class of human. So she's got that to deal with everywhere she goes. Because everywhere you go, every planet you go to in this universe, they ask for your papers to see what planet you're from, and she cannot produce those ever. And everybody kind of looks down upon her for that. They land on a planet, and Scorpia's got this side hustle where she's smuggling different plants from planet to planet. Now, we know that when you smuggle birds or plants, they can carry diseases, and the reason that that's illegal is, well, it's because it's dangerous, and it can cause a plague that will wipe out. But she just does it anyway. So she smuggles a plant to the planet, and smuggling plants or different creatures to different planets in this universe is punishable by death. And there's no messing around. They just, like, you did it, we're killing you. So anyway, she gets caught, and then she's put in prison. And this is a little spoilery, but I don't care. But every time I see this in a book, because I work at the, if you followed my channel, you know I work at the state prison in Utah, and I've done it for 14 some odd years, and I've been big into law enforcement my whole life. And whenever, in a TV show or a movie or a book, whenever the cops or anybody handcuffs someone in the front, you handcuff them in the front. No. Law enforcement that knows what they're doing, they always handcuff people in the back like this. Because the front is pointless. It's pointless. And they do it. The prison guards handcuff, and then it leads to her escape. Of course it does, because she was handcuffed wrong. Whenever I see that in movies, the TV shows, the books, I roll my eyes, but I'm like, you know, author's license, writer's license, give them a free pass on this. But beyond the weird little prison escape. By the way, if the prison that Scorpia had escaped from, if they had followed any normal, if the guards had followed any sort of normal prison protocol or policy, the escape would have never happened. But that's just me being nitpicky, because I've worked in these environments, and I would think in the future that they would only get better at this, not worse. But apparently they got worse. Apparently they regressed, and now just people can just escape willy-nilly. Anyway, beyond that, this is just a really good fun, and part of that fun is the prison escape. Let's face it. Part of the fun is watching our character escape from the prison. And this happens early on in the book, so I'm not really spoiling anything for the end of the book. But, you know, it causes strife between her and her family and her brother that's fighting in the war. And And, you know, her siblings. Oh, I wanted to mention her siblings because they're dynamite. I love them. Lyra is her younger sister. Lyra is about 20 years old, which means that Fortuna is probably 22 or 23. So is her brother, Corvus. And then there's two twins, Andromeda and Apollo, and they're pretty cool too. I like them. And then the mother. It's a great book. It's a great debut. I don't know if this is a debut novel for Kristyn Merbeth or whatever, but it certainly got my attention, and I certainly enjoyed the hell out of it. It is just a really fun space opera, Star Wars-esque, just adventure story. It's just super cool. So I'm glad I picked it up, and I'll be getting the others soon, I imagine. So let's give this an 8.5 out of 10, which is a good rating for someone I had never heard of before.